Hello everyone and welcome to another SQL Query training session with Learn at Knowstar. In today's session, we are going to write a SQL query to count the number of times a particular character occurs in a string. So let's get started. So we are going to be working with something like the survey data, and I have created a dummy table here called dbo.survey. We have two columns in this table called the survey ID and response. Now for each survey, ideally the response could be yes, that is a Y, a no, that could be an N, or X in our example. So what we have got is we have got the responses, but we have got them concatenated as a single column. So all the responses have been concatenated for a particular survey ID in a single column. Now what we want to achieve here is we want to find out how many times the response to that particular survey ID was a Y. So we are going to count the number of times Y occurs in this particular string. Okay. So the approach that we're going to take for counting a particular character, in this case, an example, is to first find the length of the original string, which is the response column for us. So the length of this whole string. Then we are going to replace the character that we want to count by an empty string and count the length of the remaining string, and then subtract the two to get the actual length or actual times that character which we want to identify or count occurred in that particular string. So let's write the query to understand this better, what we are actually trying to achieve here. So let's start with a simple select statement. Select, and let's select the survey ID. Let's select the response column. Then let's find the length of the response column. So length, there's a function called length which can be used here, and this will give us the length of this original column. Then the next thing that we're going to do is count the number of times Y occurred in the string. So basically we are going to replace the Y in the string by an empty string. And the function that we can use for that is called the replace function. So use replace. It can be used to replace any character in a string. And we are going to replace it in the response column. The string that we're going to replace is our Y, and we're going to replace it with an empty character. Okay, and then the next step is to find the length of this particular string. So let's find the length of this string. So let's just copy it from here, paste it here, and we're going to find out the length of this string and just specify the table, close the query. Okay, and now let's execute this query and see what are the results that we are getting. So once we execute this query, we have the survey ID, response, which is the original string. We have got a length of this original string, which is 27. The next thing that we did was replace all the Y's in this particular string. So if you look at this string, there are no Y's in the string, it's only N and X. And this is the length of the string that we calculated by replacing the Y or the character in that particular string. Now to understand how many times that character or Y actually appeared in the string, we simply need to subtract 19 from 27, and whatever is the result would be the number of times Y occurred in this particular string. So to frame our final query, we can just copy this query over here, and what we actually need is simply subtracting. So we can replace this, and we can just subtract the length of the string that we achieved by replacing the character that we want to count by an empty string and subtracting it from the original, the length of the original string. So now if we run this query, this is the answer that you're going to get, and this is the number of times Y occurred in this particular string. So it's not a very complicated query. It's pretty straightforward. Whatever character you want to replace, you can replace it here. So now if you want to say count the number of times N occurred in the string, it is going to be replacing the N in the original string, and so 9 is the number of times, and the response to this survey was N. So this is basically how you can frame a query to find or count the number of times a particular character occurs in a string. So I hope that you found this video useful. If you did, then please do not forget to like, comment and share this video. Also, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we'll be posting many more videos soon. Thanks again for watching and goodbye.